Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast here at the Shed Haulers Bash in North Carolina.
That's where we are.
And we have been trying to line up this interview for a year.
At least. Yeah.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
And I want to come out there to Arizona. That's the thing. I want to get out there. So maybe we'll do a round two whenever I get out there.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, but today, who do we have on the podcast? Care to explain who you are, a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So Susan Frair, more commonly known as the Shed Gal.
The Shed Gal.
Yes. Used to be based out of Washington State, had several shed display lots up there. Also had shed display lots in Arizona, and that's where I'm based out of now. We pivoted to a new design in our business, so we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, I see I brought some sun with me. So,
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
because
glad
it was
to be here.
it was wet here yesterday and on my drive out the whole time. So I'm glad that you brought some sunshine.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how you got to know the shed industry. You are, we're all shed personalities, but I like to think that you are a shed brand in a sense.
Yes.
You are well known in the shed industry.
We certainly became a brand. So it was about 7 years ago, and I know I've shared this story with you, but I think I forgot part. My husband went to build us a shed. And several $1,000s in, we had what I refer to as a nightmare of a shed and knew that wasn't going to work. I have pictures of it. We should pop that into this podcast and everybody will have a good laugh except for my husband. Sorry, Mike. Anyway, so that led me on the path of looking for a shed. And I did not even realize that portable buildings and barns were available and found that. But I had less than a stellar experience buying a shed. And because of my background in sales, and I just felt we could do it a better way.
Yeah.
We could offer this really cool product that could benefit a lot of people, but we'll do it better and provide better service and help people understand and figure out what their needs and wants are and really serve them. And so we started. I didn't know the difference between a 2x4 and a 2x6 when we started. But I sold 10 buildings the first month, and I knew I was onto something. And so that's where the journey into the industry began. So
Nice.
That was the beginning of August of 2017.
Okay. So, yeah, very good. So then you moved on from there as...
So we worked for a small regional company in Washington the first year.
Okay.
And we had no brand to speak of, but we still did really well. But a couple of people, I think it was about a year in, maybe a little less than that, a couple of people said to me, I couldn't remember your name. I saved you in my phone as the Shed Gal. And that is where it began. Instant lights, excitement in my head. That's it.
Yeah.
And so we went with that from literally that moment forward. And it's worked well so far.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think about like the branding on Shed Geek. I think I wrote a article in Shed Builder magazine, and I said, I just do these things because I'm a bit of a shed geek.
There it is.
And then it stuck from there. It was like, self-proclaimed shed geek, and
Exactly.
it's like, that's just what and I guess, I don't know all the meanings of the word geek, but for me growing up, you know what I mean? Like it was, shed nerd, shed geek, like these are just the things that you geek out about or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Some people love music, some people love whatever. I just seemed to, like, I was already collecting brochures and stuff from other companies and just meeting other people and trying to network and trying to collaborate and things. So I was like, yeah, Shed Geek works. It works out good. Yeah. So Shed Gal has served you very well. Everyone knows you as the Shed Gal.
Exactly. And you've probably had this. The funny experiences when you're out and about, and pretty soon that brand, they really feel like they know that due to the consistency, and they see your name. And so I have met people in the strangest places, and they feel like they know me, and it's been really fun to just start talking. They start talking because of the branding and meeting new people, and it's worked out really well. Branding is super important.
We just did an interview with Henry Wong on branding, and I found someone outside the industry to kind of talk about it. But let's talk about it inside the industry.
Are you a dealer who sells multiple products at your shed lot? Are you tired of sifting through clunky or overcomplicated softwares to simply sell a product? If so, it's time to call Cal. Consumer Aligned Logistics is the affordable, simplified, and scalable solution for your shed, carport, or even RTO company. We are partnered with Idea Room and Shed Pro for configurators and have multiple RTO partners to choose from JMag to Heartland to Shed Geek Rentals and Scott's RTO. And if your partner isn't listed here, just ask. We are happy to add more. Give us a call at 425-359-3279 or visit calcanhelp.com. That's CALCANHELP.com.
Like, what do you feel like branding has done for you? What are your just overall thoughts on branding?
Branding to me is that, top of mind awareness when someone is ready to buy a shed. In our experience, it was a process. Yeah, occasionally you'd get someone in, I want that one right there or that one right there, and you write it up and you're done. And that's wonderful. It's fun when that happens. But reality is it's a process for a lot of people, and especially the more money they're spending. So I always had in mind that when they were absolutely ready to buy a shed, I want them to remember my name, not Google sheds near me, and I may or may not pop up. So to me, it is what made our business as successful as it became.
Well, if you're a consignment dealer, we try to go through the details of some of this in conversation. If you're a consignment dealer, you are an independent dealer.
Exactly.
So if you're an independent dealer, you have your own LLC or S Corp or whatever you've got going on, your sole proprietorship. So you are trying to brand your own LLC, for instance, your own business.
Yes.
But then you're selling another brand of sheds.
Correct.
And that could be confusing for some folks. So the question becomes, am I, I don't know, Joey's Sheds. Maybe there's a Joey Sheds out there. I don't really know. Shannon Sheds. How about that? Let's go with that.
Shed Geek Sheds.
Shed Geek Sheds. If you were Shannon Sheds, but then you sell Shed Geek Sheds.
Right.
It for the customer, they can become confused on who am I buying from?
Right. So I have a philosophy that my business name is the umbrella over the products that I sell. So, for example, you have a big box store. They don't have every name of every product in their name. That's not possible. They are that store. So I am my business. And so regardless of what shed company or, steel company, or maybe you're selling Polywood furniture or play sets, having that brand make it easier for the customer to remember. And of course, each company we know would like to, and it's not just one, I think it's pretty across the board, they would like their name to always be number one. What I think that actually does is it actually backfires and results in less sales. I truly believe that when the dealers have their own brand, they're going to sell more buildings because people are going to remember them. I don't know about the confusion with customers, because had I sold for company A, B, C, or D, I think we got to a certain point really quickly into it. The customers didn't care. It was they were.
It's who they're dealing with right now in the moment.
They're dealing with.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we always promoted the name of the companies that we were representing for the metal or for the shed. But we wanted our customers to know we're their person, not the company. And so, again, we talked about this. My philosophy is a little bit different. I think branding is of the utmost importance in in helping with each dealer's success.
Yeah.
And consistency. And it's so much easier, especially when you have an area where there's, multiple dealers. If it's, ABC Sheds of London or ABC Sheds of, Mount Vernon or it's great for the company
Yeah.
name. It doesn't result in more sales. In fact, it probably results in less. We want it to be, you want to go to Shed Geek Sheds and buy what he offers.
Yeah. Well, so I've had questions, and I'm like, man, how do I tackle this conversation on a podcast in a way that maintains positivity?
Yeah.
And still yet addresses the issue? Because of course people encourage me, you should ask this, you should go that, you should go here. And I said, well, let's keep in mind that, we want a positive image, but we don't want to shy away from hard or difficult conversations either.
Right.
They make us better. So I try to find a way that does that, and I'm diplomatic in my approach. But so let's talk about franchising. If you have a manufacturer and a manufacturer has 200 shed lots. Now all of a sudden you have 200, if they're all independent individual shed lots, 200 brands. So now we've run into this several times in the marketing world where, is the parent company going to have a website, and then are they going to have a separate website for each individual location, or will the parties be responsible as an independent contractor for maintaining their own website? Then you start talking about 3D configurators and point of sale systems and ways to purchase, and even running ads, which is becoming far more common now.
Yes.
So who becomes responsible for these
Right.
things? And I've got mixed feelings on it. I'll just tell you my feelings is man, when you're an independent dealer and somebody brings you $200,000 worth of free inventory,
Yes.
they are investing in you already.
Huge
Yeah.
investment.
So now the question is, do they need to invest farther by franchising their dealers, or is that a responsibility? Where do you land on a lot of that?
It is interesting, and I've thought a lot about this, and it almost is separated in my mind. So if a company wants to control everything, then they should pay their dealers as an employee and control every aspect of it. Or they can provide guidance and guidelines, because like this example of 200, you may have 200 people doing it 200 different ways, and,
Right.
and then you lose control over that brand, So I'm torn. I have thought about that. But on the other hand, when you're dealing with people who are contractors, they only have so much control,
Yeah. That's right.
So,
No, absolutely right.
yeah.
So for them, and they may be, it depends on how these contractors are found.
Yes.
Because they may have a primary business where selling sheds becomes a secondary business. And that doesn't mean they always take a secondary approach, but sometimes it does. And that's probably why we see some lots shut down and they move to different locations.
Absolutely.
Because you kind of want somebody dedicated to your shed brand. And then what happens whenever they sell wood buildings, but they don't sell metal? And then it's like, well, I want to be able to carry a metal line of business because
Right.
I'm an independent contractor.
Right.
So I want to be able to carry, other products that help my business succeed, because maybe they don't
Yes.
see only selling maybe wood or just metal buildings as an income valuable enough to be able to take on these other tasks, like as they begin marketing
Right.
and advertising.
Well, and that's a good point.
Are you ready to elevate your shed business to new heights? Your pathway to success just got a whole lot smoother with ShedSuite's innovative marketing platform. At ShedSuite, we like to think we understand the shed industry at least a little bit. And over the last 7 years, we've been building awesome software for shed businesses. We focus first on building easy-to-use software to help you create and track orders, like the point of sale and after the sale order fulfillment. And now we're excited to announce our full feature CRM. All things pre-sale, like prospecting and follow-up, all to empower your shed company to market better and sell more efficiently. Our platform empowers you with a marketing toolkit designed to amplify your online presence, engage your audience, and drive sales like never before. Enjoy the ease of conversion tracking, email marketing, centralized lead communication, and so much more. Oh, and guess what? It even comes with an iPhone and an Android app. With ShedSuite's marketing platform, crafting and deploying effective marketing campaigns is a breeze. The advanced reporting functionality allows your team to analyze real-time conversion data so you can make informed decisions and watch your business flourish. There's no better time than now to join the community of shed business owners who are scaling up with ShedSuite. It's time to turn your marketing efforts into real, trackable results. Visit shedsuite.com/marketing to get pricing, explore the features, and book a demo. ShedSuite is committed to building top quality software to empower your shed business to thrive.
The one thing that you limit yourself if you're, let's just say it's ABC metal sheds. Okay. So I'm going to be, here's ABC as the company, and my brand's going to be ABC metal sheds. But now I'm offering stick built sheds or another, and so we can do it both ways. There's that fine line between we have to be super respectful for the companies who are putting a tremendous amount of money in inventory into us. On the other hand, the company needs to look at it as the point is to sell sheds, not that their name is the most important thing. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to sell sheds. And so I think if we look historically, the dealers that have a brand are typically more successful because they're offering multiple products. They're making more money, hopefully, because they're offering multiple products. So it is, it's hard. It's that fine line with the company wanting you to just use their name, in your business name, but yet is that really best for everybody overall? And I think the answer to that is no. I think branding allows the dealer to make more money, which in turn makes the company more money.
So you bring up a good point. If they start offering different products, those products might not be the thing that's ultimately sold, but it could be the things that kind of help bring them in, and then they end up buying what, if you were to say, wood sheds are more prominent, for instance.
Right.
They may be selling more wood sheds because they're bringing more traffic, more foot traffic too.
Absolutely.
And if they say they have a superior product, then the salesperson will be able to upsell them if that's within their budget to find. So then would we come to the conclusion here today that offering multiple lines of products could be a good thing?
I think without exception.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, that's just my personal belief, but we sold more stick-built sheds when we started also advertising metal carports, because just what you said, it draws more people to the location. So it's a win-win situation. It isn't saying, to go out and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in things that may or may not sell, but find what works for that particular dealer in that particular area and try it. What we're doing on the other side of our new venture here is something that's pretty new, pretty unique in this industry, and my whole goal is we're going to have sister products that will draw more attention. So instead of just offering one thing, we're going to offer 4 or 5 things, advertise all of them under the Shed Gal name, and it'll attract more people.
Do you agree that just identifying what a shed is has become more complicated? While it should be simple, it's in one little world it might be, but I've found that just I think whenever people say, well, how are you going to talk to somebody once an hour, twice a week? And I'm like, oh, easy. There's so much conversation that can be derived from all of this, because you're not just in sheds. And not only do I believe everyone has a story, I mean, now those sheds can become conversations about barn dominiums. They can become conversations about pole sheds. In Michigan, I thought it was kind of clever. I was talking to somebody and he was like, well, I got a shed in my backyard. It's a, 40 by 120.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, see, some people would have a problem with that. They would say a shed is just a small outbuilding.
A 4x6 to put my mower in,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So it's I feel like it's opened up way more conversation, way more opportunity to have conversation. And I think you have a lot of dealers out there that are very organized, who have started selling play sets, gazebos, post frame,
Yes.
barn dominiums, and then metal structures,
Right.
and some with a floor, some without a floor. I mean, so like the whole conversation just lends itself to more people being able. It's almost Construction Geek might have been better, huh? I don't know,
Yeah.
but then we would be in like homes and all that stuff too, and so we just try to stay. We do try to stay in this space the best we can. But what is a shed anymore? What is a shed? So
And you're exactly right, because when we talk about it, it's each individual's perception, right? I mean, that big huge building, I wouldn't call it shed. I'm not sure what I would call it, but so it's catering to each individual's needs of where they're at.
do you think there's a difference or an improvement one way or the other to go away from the name shed toward portable structure, portable building? You think that matters? Barn?
I was just having
Mini
this conversation a couple days ago with a gentleman in Dallas, and we were different product, but he was like, we don't know what to call it. And I'm like, that is really interesting. And we were talking about portable buildings. I still today, almost 7 years into this, have people that say, what is a portable building?
Yeah.
Because portable kind of implies you could just pick it up and move it whenever you want to a lot of people. Yes, they can be moved. They're delivered intact, but not just willy-nilly whenever you want.
Right.
A portable barbecue versus a permanent, So I'm not sure. I prefer the word shed myself.
Yeah.
I hear people talking more about sheds than I do about portable buildings. I think it's also regional. I think back, Arizona, Washington State, where I'm very familiar with both. A very small percentage of people know what a portable building is if you ask them.
They'll say shed.
Unless they've been to the lot.
Yeah. It's all of this. I feel like these are conversations that just keep coming up in our circles and things like that, trying to figure out what is the best way to move forward for branding, what is the best way to move forward, consignment versus wholesale purchase. And there's just different places in the country that, and not to say that that's always the case. Like the New England territories seem to build and sell wholesale, and then you have a lot of dealers that manage expectations by sharing hauling companies or create or hauling themselves. That's why you almost have a hodgepodge even of like haulers and salespeople. And some say, I don't know how to identify. Am I a hauler? Am I a salesperson? I'm both. Am I one more than I am the other? I mean, without a doubt, we're here at the Shed Hauler Bash here in Salisbury, North Carolina. One thing's for sure about the shed haulers is they do a great job leading.
Yes.
And I don't think the sales people have quite caught on to be collaborative as much as the haulers have.
Oh, you're speaking my language. Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm not sure where it comes from.
Here at Identigro, we have been providing custom nameplates for the shed and furniture industry for over 20 years. We are so pleased to know that shed manufacturers see the value in expressing their shed brand to potential customers using an Identigro nameplate. When you add an attractive decal to your product, you will more than pay for the cost with increased sales. Clients will not only be able to identify the shed brand, but it will help to brand and advertise to potential customers who can easily see the nameplate, and in many cases, find a phone number or website to shop for themselves. At Identigro, we are happy to continue to serve and invite you to visit our website at identigro.com or give us a call at 540-283-9193. You can even fax us at 540-283-9194 or visit our website by clicking on the Shed Geek newsletter and then simply fill out some basic information for a free catalog or free samples. Thank you, Shed Industry, for allowing us to serve you in identifying your sheds. Identigro, identify your products, grow your business.
I feel like that almost comes from some people, certainly not all people, but especially on the sales side, they feel like if we work together, it takes away from. And I'm the exact opposite. So I don't really understand that thinking, but I've heard that and I've seen it where the haulers will be more, collaborative. The dealers sometimes, in my opinion, way too often don't want to work together, don't want to reach out to each other. And I see it as just the opposite. You work together. It's not going to help just one of you. It's going to help both of you, and you're both going to sell more.
I think it goes back to, again, Tyler Mahan saying early on in the show, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I really do think that an industry can do better. And as organized as we are as an industry, that's important too.
Absolutely.
As we begin to become more mature as an industry. So where one goes, we all go to some extent. Where one fails, we all fail. So we want to do better, I think. And even though you're competing, I think competition there's just been so much talk around it. And I always say competition can be a good thing because it makes us sharper.
Right.
Makes us better. And we should want to improve. And if we stay on where we're at always, and you never improve your systems or processes, you begin to get a little stale. With RTO, I say the same thing.
Yes.
You need new ideas, need new blood.
Absolutely. Because if you're not moving forward, it's not that you're staying stale. You're going backwards with technology and changes. And
so, what's your new adventure? Like we see you all over Facebook.
No.
And I'm like, hey, I'm a friend of the Shed Gal now, so I get to tell everybody. I'm getting a shirt and everything.
You are getting a shirt.
Yeah.
I brought some shirts to give out at the Haulers Bash.
That'd be great.
So here's our new adventure. So I had a vision. And that vision keeps expanding, as you know. We are now a national dealer for installed metal carports and metal buildings in the lower 48 states. So you're in Arkansas, we can help you. You're in Washington State, we can help you. We can ship worldwide for the barn dominium and the red iron kits. So we are going to be the one-stop shop. Now, we're not going to get into the stick-built shed business, but what we are going to have on our shedgal.com, shameless plug right there, website, and that's being built right now. What we are going to have is a page where if you are in the market for a stick-built shed, we're your one-stop shop. We are going to strategically partner with dealers across the country in certain areas. Now, there's no money exchange there, but we want to be that website where everybody goes to if they need anything in the shed business. So, if you're in Pickens, South Carolina, I'm gonna recommend you call, Brian and Sarah Parton for a shed. Brandon Suarez up in Utah for a shed, because we don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. There's some big hitters in this industry, but what we're also going to do is open a super center for metal buildings in Arizona. And there will be more details on that. But you don't see the dealers across the country that have 18, 20, 25 metal building displays, but we will. Not only will we have that, we'll have the play sets, we'll have the greenhouses, things that are kind of sister products that will attract a lot more people. So we have the national presence where we're their one-stop shop. They don't have to shop around. We're shopping for them. That gives us a price advantage, right? And then we also will have the big display lot with 4 or 5 people running that. So a couple other little things in the works, but those will be announced at another time. We're working on those in our spare time.
Well, I just feel like I see you everywhere, so I'm curious, everything that you have going on. Yeah, definitely. We connected through the RTO side.
Yes.
Recently.
Yes.
So we were able to collaborate on that partnership together. I'm excited about that.
Can I plug that a little bit?
Go for
All
it.
right.
Go for it.
This is not a paid advertisement, by the way, for the Shed Geek Rentals, but
I'll send you the check later. How about
thanks.
that?
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
The metal building manufacturers offer in-house rent-own almost without exception. Well, not in-house; they don't own the paperwork, but they're running rent-own. We are now affiliated with Shed Geek RTO Rentals, and so we do have an in-house RTO where we have more control over helping our customers throughout the process. In the past, on RTO, we write it up, it gets sent off. We never ever have any knowledge of if things go good, bad, sideways, or what. So we have a little more input on that, and it's going to allow us to serve our customers better, and that's what it's about.
One of the things that we talked about early on, and again, we don't try to over plug it. We welcome other RTO companies
Absolutely.
on this is you talk about a true testimony or a testament of like who we are. We encourage other RTO folks to come on the show. The MBSRA, as a matter of fact, is sort of a parent organization for rent-to-own, has talked about the efforts of collaboration, and I'm like, no better way to collaborate than to come on and have conversation that builds community and that builds confidence and education through our process. So I'm happy to use the platform to do that. And I even tell them, if you want to advertise, you're welcome to.
Right.
Because I can't win them all. I couldn't win them all anyway, right? So there's just going to be people that's going to be happy working with different organizations, and we're happy to have our hand in there. And, we're going to do a good job as best we can for those we work with. But we do that through conversation. And if somebody says, hey, this is just the company I chose to work with, we understand that.
Right.
We're just happy to be in the conversation. So, and it lets me fund my fun, Susan.
I love it.
It lets me fund my fun. And my fun is traveling across the country with my wife and with my son, and having conversations with the shed gal and other folks who have been in the shed space for a long time. They have a story to tell, and who knows, maybe some of what they share on the podcast will help somebody else. I've had so many people say, we've learned so much from being on there, and I said, well, we want to keep having guests on who can add value to your day.
Absolutely.
And that's important.
Each of your podcasts, I have learned something. Every time a dealer reaches out to me for help, I learn something.
Yes.
You were saying, like, having the guests on that are in the same business and the collaboration. It comes down to there's enough business for everybody, and if we can work together, we are more powerful and more successful overall. There's obviously challenges in any industry, and this one is no exception. But I see good things happening.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is like being able to come to the Shed Haulers Bash and meet a bunch of these people that I've, a lot of them have reached out to me for help over the last couple of years especially. And there's no reason to not work together if we can. Yeah. I mean, we can't fix every problem, but I love this industry. I love the people in it. This event, if you were here, if you're not here, you are missing out. There's no other industry like it.
Yeah.
Good people in this industry.
No, couldn't agree more. Is this your first bash?
This is my first, but not last.
So what are your thoughts so far?
I think it's amazing.
You and Sam are good friends.
Yes.
You guys get along well. Sam's a great guy.
Yeah. Brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You even have similar hairstyles.
Well, if my hair was its natural color, we would look like twins.
What him and Jason have done putting these events together.
Incredible.
Yeah.
This is incredible. So right before we sat down here, Brian and Sarah and I walked the parking lot and the trucks out there, and the amount of time that people have stopped what they're doing during the week and come here to interact with other people in the industry is very telling. This wasn't set up on a Saturday and a Sunday where, I can work my work week and come here. It was set up, and the amount of people here. And I understand that there are going to be 750 or so people tonight for the banquet.
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
I think you said possibly 800. We're just not sure if we could squeeze them in.
Yeah, well, we'll make them fit.
But yeah.
But it's incredible. This is definitely not my last bash. So,
No. Why do you think it's important to go to these things? The trade shows, the local, even if you can't make it to the I guess it's biannual, every 18 months, Shed Hauler Bash, even the barbecues, whenever, they create those and they're more local. Any trade shows, anything any company is putting together.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a competing company. If they allow you to be there, and they should. Well, unless it's like a specific, department only kind of thing that you know. But if you're putting something on publicly and things like that, why is it important to go to those things to you?
Boy, we are stronger together. There's not an issue that let's use a shed dealer, for example. It is very unlikely that they are ever going to have a problem, question, or issue that I didn't go through.
Yeah.
And I'm able to share that. So then we have haulers. It is very unlikely that any hauler is going to have a situation where multiple other haulers here haven't had it. And so that collaboration and working together, and it just makes us all better. It makes us all stronger. It seems like it seems to be changing, which is a wonderful thing. But certainly with certain companies out there, I've heard that, and whether that's true or not, I don't know. But sometimes you hear that the dealers feel like they're working against corporate offers, so they feel like they're working against the haulers, and bringing something like this together. And like for me, it's like, no, I don't haul buildings. I did haul some, but I don't haul buildings. But it makes us all stronger.
Yeah.
It makes us all better. We can always learn something, and we always have someone to call, because not every day, I know it's hard to believe, but not every day is as rosy as every day. So
this is James Price of ShedPro on Faith in Business. In 2003, British cycling changed forever. For over 100 years, the British cycling team had never won the Tour de France, and only once won a single gold medal. That all changed when they hired a new performance director. His approach was different from any other coach. He applied what he called the aggregation of marginal gains. The whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike, and then improve it by 1%, you would get a significant increase when you put them all together. The team changed everything by 1%, even going so far as hiring a surgeon to teach the riders how to best wash their hands to reduce the risk of catching a cold. They found the best pillows to create a better night's sleep. They painted the inside of the team truck white so they would notice dust that would degrade performance on the bikes. In just 5 years, the British cycling team dominated the road, winning 60% of the gold medals. Then they became the first British team to win the Tour de France and continued to win 5 victories in the next 6 years. This is James Price. Thanks for listening.
I've said for quite some time now, as me and you sit here, we look around, this will be filled up tonight.
Yeah.
But even seeing different folks out here talking, I always say the best podcast that never gets aired happen at these tables.
yes,
They happen
Absolutely.
at booths at the expo. You know what I mean? They happen. So like those are the best conversations that would never get recorded, and probably some of that can be sensitive conversation, and maybe that's why. But you'll have those experiences when you're here. You'll be better educated. You'll learn more
yes.
from talking to people, and everyone has to keep their secret sauce, right? Their Wendy's Dave's recipe.
That's right.
He used to do those commercials for a long time. Our secret recipe, or is it Bush's baked beans? Remember they would have like the
or Kentucky Fried Chicken, Coca-Cola. Yeah, you keep the secret sauce, but you share what benefits. Everybody's got their thing, but to me the biggest thing is I have people that I can pick up the phone and call, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, and I think that's wonderful. I think we all need that.
Yeah, I think you're stronger together. I think the industry does better with a spirit of cooperation.
Absolutely.
And not a spirit of I don't know, secrecy. That always gets me. I'm like, well, there's very little things. What makes a $50 million a year scalable, vertically integrated shed company successful versus a $1 million a year vertically integrated company? What's the change? Because you're selling a very similar product. Of course, there's differences when you get into the details of it, but generally speaking, they're similar products. So that tells me that it's your internal systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's challenges there, and it's hard to take. Well, a dealer, it's hard to train a dealer, in my opinion. It's hard to attract a dealer if you haven't been a dealer. It's one of those things, and I think it might be the same with shed haulers.
That's a good topic.
Might be the same with shed haulers too. If you haven't done it, I want to hire a shed hauler. Well, I'm going to post this ad, and it's really simple. Anybody can do it, and you just have to drive a truck and learn all these things, and you got to be good with the customers and work with the dealers. But if you haven't done it, it's really difficult. And so then I think you get, at least from the dealer side, you get folks with companies. You're not going to find very good, very successful dealers that want to go into different positions that can make a change. And it's hard. Everybody has to find their place and work together and accept help and suggestions to improve things.
Talking about finding dealers, and you've spent some time doing that.
Oh, a lot of time. Yeah.
Whenever I worked with Irvin at Summit, that was part of my responsibility. And I always found that to be the most interesting thing. I'm curious at your approach, or for those regional sales managers that listen to the podcast. I'd be curious at their approach too, or their thoughts, or what they'd be willing to share. Of course, I always tell people, don't share what you don't want to share on here. But let's have a good conversation that's helpful and educational. But I'm not asking anyone to share anything they're not comfortable with.
Right.
I've sent a finished episode to people several times when we're done and said, I'd like for you to approve this before I put it out. I won't just put it out without your approval. We're not playing gotcha games or anything. So,
right, exactly.
But I'm curious your thoughts. What is your approach, or would you be willing to share some of your thoughts on your approach to that, or what companies could or should do, or what's working, what's not, that kind of thing?
I think that's really important, because I think that a lot of times sales managers struggle in trying to get dealers, and kind of across the board, most of them have never been a dealer. So that kind of goes back to the part about it's hard to really explain how it works. So my approach is from the dealer point of view.
Okay.
And I believe in full transparency.
Of course, yeah.
And so, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here are the really good things about becoming a dealer. Here are things that I found were very, very challenging. Here are solutions I found to overcome those things that are inevitable, the things that we can't control, but they're going to happen. It isn't, we're going to find someone and, they have black hair, so they're not going to have the same challenges, or, they have no hair. The same challenges are going to happen dealer to dealer. I
feel like that was personal, guys. I don't know.
I know. I've got enough hair for both of us.
She pointed when she said no hair.
Bald is beautiful. Come on, Shannon. Come on. So I am a realist with it, as far as I wanted the dealers that I was talking to know the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
And did that possibly discourage some? Yeah. And you know what? That's totally fine.
Right.
Because I'm not about throwing mud and we'll see if any sticks on the wall.
Right.
I want the good stuff to stick. So I would encourage anyone in the industry who hasn't actually been a dealer, find a really good dealer to tag team with, to talk to potential dealers. I think it comes down to setting the expectations, because if a new dealer comes on, it's very overwhelming. There's so much to learn. They might not even know the difference between a 2x4 and a 2x6 like me. I know the difference now. It's so overwhelming, but then you don't want them to think that you bamboozled them or that you tricked them into it. And I've heard that. I've heard nobody told me that, and we don't want that in this industry. Be transparent. It's a great industry, and you bring on multiple products. This is a wonderful career.
Yeah.
Wonderful business for people. But I'm all about trying to prevent issues. So full transparency and training.
Yes.
Adequate training.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I would do is a lot of questions whenever I went to open up a new dealer. I mean, you did all your normal stuff. You looked at traffic count, and but I don't like the idea of like opening up a dealer and saying, "We'll see, we hope." I
Good
mean,
luck.
they seem like a pretty good person.
So easy, an 8-year-old could do it.
Right. Yeah. You hit on something. You said it can be a fulfilling career. And
For
I
sure.
wonder sometimes, if you show up as a regional sales rep and you're trying to open up a shed lot at a location, do people feel that way? Have you sold it that way? What about conversations about RTO? Me and Melody Troutman was just sitting
Yeah.
here talking, right? And it was like, what are you doing to prevent
Yes.
these problems
Exactly.
before they become a problem? So we want to make sure to pull on her and others who have expertise
Absolutely.
in the area of RTO and things like that to make sure that we're not selling it the wrong ways. We're not setting our dealers up for failure.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge in my mind. And I'm not picking on just the shed industry. It's very similar in the metal building. And the companies will admit there's little to no training.
Yeah.
We're trying to change that behind the scenes. I mean, I am committed to helping whoever I possibly can in this industry because we need that. We need more of that. Setting the expectation, the proper training, being there, being supportive, it could change the trajectory of so many dealers quit. So many dealers fail. Mm-hmm. It does not have to be that way, but someone at the top needs to say, we're open to doing it differently. Because it's cheaper to keep her. I'm sure some of you may have heard that, right? It's cheaper to keep her. That's true in this. These companies, I mean, they're spending $100,000, $200,000 to put inventory on a lot, and then the dealer fails, and it looks
the transportation of that, the logistics, and finding a new, like in this case, it's cheaper to invest into who you got rather than go out and find new.
Right.
And anybody who does, retention and employees and things like that will usually agree with that. Not everyone is worth or able to be kept.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because it just doesn't work out. But generally speaking, if it's pride or ego, now that's going to cost you a lot more money.
Exactly.
That's different, right?
Well, if these companies are seeing a pattern that what they're doing isn't working as far as finding good dealers and training them and retaining it, if it's not working, maybe they should be open to some change. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to get the same results. And that's the hard part, because then you've got people who, they didn't provide training, and we don't want that. We want it to be positive things that we hear about the industry.
I like that.
Hello, shed sellers. Did you catch the latest Real Work Labs interview with George Converse? If not, don't miss this value-packed episode. Head to Shed Geeks Podcast YouTube and search Real Work Labs. George and the Real Work Labs crew are riding the wave of Google's latest updates, taking your digital presence to the next level. We're tech artisans crafting your neighborhood brand voice for shed sellers like you to stand out, gain trust, and get found online. Our software will easily capture your work snapshots, videos, weave your craft's story, and get reviews all in one virtual experience. Our innovation goes beyond getting found for your business location, rather getting found for your work locations. Reviews intertwine with their corresponding job sites. When potential customers seek local expertise, you're the proven solution they'll find. It's high time to map your reviews and showcase your beautiful work in a meaningful way that builds trust in customers' neighborhoods. Ready for the journey? Visit shedgeek.realworklabs.com or call George today at 480-787-7575. Real Work Labs, elevating your trust, increasing your conversions, and getting you found where you work in the neighborhoods you serve, one shed at a time.
You hit on something earlier when you said most folks who maybe even wind up in the corporate world, or many, haven't necessarily been a dealer.
Right.
And when I went through the military, I know there was always angst between, your non-commissioned officers and your commissioned officers.
Okay.
So if you were a grunt, they would call you, E1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Right.
6 or 7. is way different than a commissioned officer. So you could come in and be in charge of a platoon as a second lieutenant right off the bat, where this master sergeant spent 26 years in, and
Right.
it's like, who's this kid telling me what to do, right? So I think that there's some battle hardened scars that you develop through your time as a dealer, and when you become that grunt and you work from the bottom to the top. And I think if you only have the top down model, it may not give you the missing piece you're looking for. Chris Voss wrote a book called Never Split the Difference, but in that he talked about his company called the Black Swan Company. The Black Swan was the one among all the white swan. We see all the white swans out there, but what's that black swan doing?
Right.
Because that black swan becomes the obvious thing to look at among all of the white swans. And he says that the black swan is the thing that's stopping you from growth. It's the obvious thing that everyone else sees in your business that you don't see yourself.
Yes.
And it's the obvious thing we all see whenever there's 100 swans out there.
Yes.
Sticks out among the rest. But when you're the black swan, you don't know it because
Right.
you're looking out and see a bunch of white swans and think that's
yeah.
you too.
And then your cousins, the other black swans, come in, and then you all just keep doing the same circle. you know?
Yeah. You just went deep.
Yeah. Well, but it's interesting, and I think it's not just this industry; it's other.
It really
industries too.
isn't.
But
yeah.
we're in this industry.
Right.
We care about this
Yeah,
industry.
that's right.
And so there's so many things, but I see good things happening across the board in this industry, and positive things. And you come out here, you West Coast folks, you come out here, it's so different.
Yeah.
Big lots of lots. I feel like in the West Coast, sheds are just in their infancy, or portable buildings, in their infancy. Most people don't even know what they are yet. And you come back here and the market is not saturated, even though there's dealers everywhere. They're still selling buildings. It's quite impressive to see, to come out to this part of the country.
It's definitely. Well, I mean, there's a couple of different hubs. Lancaster. Statesville's definitely. Anytime I'm around here, there's a lot of sheds. Ohio, the Paducah area, where there's a lot of corporate, world that comes out of that circle of 100 miles around Paducah. It seems like, in Mayfield, and a lot of lumber and just different things. And I mean, there's the mule. I mean, there's constantly something that's out there. So it is interesting. I've kind of become a student of just like the industry, like wanting to. Just being curious about it. Like, it's amazing what that'll do if you just try to learn the history. I'm probably as interested as anybody else when someone starts telling me, well, such and such started this at that or whatever, and I'm over here writing this down. Like, really?
It is interesting. It is interesting. The history and just kind of it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because this is the industry I'm in, but I truly believe the best people are in this industry. I just absolutely love like this. This is just absolutely incredible being here.
Like-minded people begin to find each other on their journeys, but I think the Lord puts us where in where we need to be, in the right timing of where we need to be and when we need to be there. And I think if you're a day early, it won't be supported, and if you're a day late, you better catch up, because there's opportunity there that passes you by.
Yeah, the boat just left. Yeah.
Well, I get, before I ask some final questions to wrap up here, for those who want to get a hold of you, for those who see you all over, wonder what you're doing, they want to have just a more in-depth conversation. They don't even feel like they got that out of this podcast. How do they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you so you can have a one-on-one conversation with them?
So I'm happy to set up a Zoom call or a phone call. Those avenues are much easier for me to manage rather than someone messaging me, several times a week through Facebook or even texting. So let's make the most of our time. But anyone in metal building industry, shed industry, reach out if you have any questions.
That was just for you.
That was a really nice. That was like perfect timing
that was
with
good
that
timing,
music.
Right.
Susan at shedgal.com, or my number, easy to remember, 888-91-STEEL, which is also 888-917-8335. A lot of you follow me already on our new Facebook page that we just started in December, but it's Shed Gal.
Yep.
Because
And your
for our
YouTube
new-
page.
Yeah, little YouTube page. I think I have 50 subscribers. I feel like life is complete now.
Nice.
So it's on YouTube. It's Shed Gal Susan. So quick little tidbit videos, 2 or 3 minutes long that just might get you to think about, hey, I should ask more about that. But I don't charge for helping you out. And I'll say it again, I said it earlier. Every time I help someone, I learn something too, and that's what this is about. Sorry, there's a spider over your shoulder, but it's all good.
That's okay. All good.
Our little friend.
Yeah.
So
This is
so
the
reach
Shed
out.
Geek mascot.
That's right.
Right here.
Shed
Over
Geek
here.
Mascot. So Susan at shedgal.com. Check out the podcast. Check out our Facebook page. My number's all over there. I will always get back to you if you reach out to me. And even if you think it's a mundane question or something that's not important, it is important. Ask. But even if you learn 1 or 2 things that can help your business, that's a win for me.
Well, I appreciate you and all that you do. Look forward to working with you in several partnerships
Yes.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Appreciate those who listen. Hey, whenever you're not here at the bash, this is what you get. So for those of you picking up the background noise, you can hear the fun in the back. It's
Yeah.
good, clean, responsible fun. There's a lot of nice, awesome people here.
Yeah.
1 or 2 questions. Do you have anything for me? Give everybody a chance to ask a question at the end.
Yeah.
In complete transparency, I echo your sentiments. It's how I try to operate. Podcasting, faith, family,
Yeah.
sheds, you name it. Nothing's off limits. So ask
Okay.
and I'll give my best
Flash
answer.
questions.
Yes.
Do you have any grandkids?
I have one on the way,
All
and she
right.
will be here probably Sunday,
Very soon. Okay,
March
great.
10th. That's what we're looking at.
What's your favorite part about the shed industry, separate from the people?
Ooh.
Is it the variety of how they're built?
Good question.
Is it,
The people would be the first and
Yeah.
easy answer. So good question to say what's your second most. I'm going to go with probably like the shed history. I'm a bit of a historian. I'm a little bit of a history geek. Maybe not to some extent of many people I know, but there's at least a small part of me that finds interest in how this company got started, how that company got started, how business works in general. When we travel, we love to see how different people live.
Yeah.
And we ask ourselves, why is it so much different than how I live
Yeah.
here or in this situation? But I would say the shed history. I
Yeah.
love hearing about shed history.
Well, and this isn't a question. This is just an observation of that. I truly feel like there's several of us, and I'll include you and me. We're changing. We're not changing. We're adding to the history of this industry,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool. Let's see. What's your favorite color?
Gray.
Great. And how do you like your steak that you're going to have cooked tonight at the Shed Haulers Bash?
Medium.
All right, that's all
Always
the questions I
medium.
have,
Yeah.
Shannon.
I love it. Good stuff. Appreciate you, all that you're doing.
Thank
Wish you lots and lots of continued success. I love that so many of us are trying to put forward a step forward to just be better in what we do.
Yes,
And,
absolutely. It's what it's all
move
about.
the industry forward in a way that hey, I pay so much homage to those who've come before us. Even in our marketing space,
Absolutely.
we try to make sure to talk to those marketers directly. Whenever we get questions from
Yes.
those clients, we tell them, go back and talk to that client. Go back and talk to your partner, because that's important to us. Because
Absolutely.
we're going to mess up too. So give them the chance to fix. There and we've done the same thing in the rental space.
Yeah.
Talked with Charles here today, Wilson. Good
Oh,
buddies
yeah.
with Jeff Trawick. Jonathan Miller's right next to us. The guys from RTL National are over here. Mott stopped by for a bit. I love talking to those guys, and I always tell them thank you for giving us opportunity
Absolutely.
to do this as well too. So
Yep, for
this
sure.
isn't about anything that we're doing is like we're replacing. Yeah, you need new blood and things, but generally speaking, we wanna add to your legacy and what you've already created, and we owe you a thank you for
Yes,
being there.
we
And that's
do.
how we will operate. So
I'm in full
integrity.
agreement
So.
with you.
And appreciate you. I'm going to let you
appreciate
go. I'll
you,
let you off the
Shannon.
hook. I loved your flash
Wonderful.
questions. I love your whole personality. I love your whole
Thank
brand
you,
and what
Shannon.
you do.
And I feel
Wish
the
you
same
lots
way.
of success.
And right back at you.
Perfect. Thanks, Susan.
Thanks, Shannon.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.